So I do want to respect everyone's time. I know there will be questions at the end, so I will give a very brief introduction. Mike DiNapoli is the Director of Small and Minority Business Capital for the Florida DEO. He oversees key business lending programs, venture capital, and small and minority business programs. And today you want to know about the funding after Hurricane Ian. So you did get some slides, some attachments in your login email. This will be recorded as well. And Mike, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. And thank you everybody for joining. Thank you for having me here. And thank you for being here, because I think some of this information is going to be vital to your members. So, and I hope to see a lot of you next week at the Future Florida Forum, if you will be there down in Orlando. So I will be there as well. So let's get right into it. Let me tell you a little bit about what we do here at DEO. And in fact, just before I got on this call, Secretary Eagle called me and asked me about our bridge loan. He is on the ground. We've got volunteers down there. We've got a couple of different vendors down there helping us and helping DEM coordinate. It's been a huge lift down in that area, and the Secretary has been down a lot, and he is on the ground. He is answering questions. He is talking to businesses that I'm sure you service or members. I think it's just great to know that there are so many people helping this community down in Southwest Florida. So thank you for all that you're doing. Let me tell you a little bit about some of the programs that we have here, and then I want to spend some detail on one of the big programs that we have for businesses. So I think the slide presentation, I don't see that it is still up, but I'm just going to go through what I have. I think there were 3 or 4 documents that were sent out. One of them is called this rack card, which we had printed up not too long ago, that goes through a lot of the, oh, there we go, coming back. There you go. So some of the services that not only do we provide during a disaster or during and after a disaster, but during blue sky days. A lot of the block grants that we have, CSBG is a block grant that's within DEO 12 months out of the year. DUA is something that's after a disaster that employees are eligible for. And there's people on the ground to walk them through. There's these pop-up villages and tents that they're able to help people walk them through everything that's available. CSBG, DUA, they're run by different groups. I will tell you, the CSBG grant is run by Ben Melnick. He is the Deputy Secretary of Community Development. Disaster unemployment is run under reemployment or workforce services. Adrienne Johnston is running, she's a Deputy Secretary there running that. I encourage you, your members, your local chambers, to reach out to them to get more, but it's real simple to find out more information. It's floridadisaster.biz is where you go. It's easy to walk through. It's easy to find things. I think they've made a lot of changes to the website to help navigate. It used to be 5-6 clicks. Now it's 1 or 2, which is the way it should be. Dislocated worker grant program, again, something that's available during and after a disaster. LAHEAP, which is low income home energy assistance program. And even LIWAP is another one run out of Ben Melnick's group in Division of Community Development, which are available during every month of the year, not just after a disaster. So I'm sure many of you know about these programs. They've been around for a while, but it's nice to hear them again. The DRCs, if you want to just slide down to the bottom there, this is where I think it's going to be helpful that you can send this out to your members and those that the businesses that you're servicing. On the bottom, you'll see the QR codes for statewide and for DEO resources. That's the best place to go, and especially to find out where the DRCs and BRCs are. So you've got the disaster recovery centers and the business recovery centers. On the website, it'll tell you the hours, it'll tell you who's there. I do know that there are state and federal agencies in all of these centers, including FEMA and SBA, who are a major part of recovery. I'm going to switch over to, if you could put up the slide that's entitled EBL Flyer. This is a good resource. We just added this to our website. It's really just a basic Q&A or a common Q&A. You know, what is this? I will talk about, you can leave this up, this is fine. I will talk about this real quick. This is, I think, one of the most important small business resources available after a disaster. I got to DEO in 2017, about a week before Hurricane Irma hit Florida. That was my first trial by fire, figure it out as we go. But we put out about $35 million to small businesses after that. We had 50 million. We only loaned out 35 million. This, in my opinion, is one of the key business resources after disaster. I get calls all the time from other states asking, why is it so successful? What is it that we need to do to stand it up in our state? Texas is called, Maryland is called, Chicago's called, California even called, surprisingly. But it is a great program because it is at the disposal of the governor, and he has a lot of latitude as to activating it, which is activated by executive order. The dollar amounts, the counties, we try to coordinate the counties with other federal programs because this is a bridge to other federal programs like an SBA EIDL program, which, if you're not familiar, is an economic injury disaster loan. So we want this money to be a bridge to other programs, to other commercially available loans, federal loans, FEMA money, insurance money. We want these businesses, this is emergent money. We want these businesses to be able to keep the doors open, to be able to keep their employees paid, to be able to continue on until they can get the long-term funding. So you can see here, the governor made $50 million available, 10 million of which is allocated to the agriculture business. I can give you statistics in a moment after I go through, and then I can pull up my screen. But we've built the platform here where you can apply right online. It's real simple. Documentation is really easy. If you want to just scroll through and you can see, y'all can see kind of the things I'm talking about as I'm talking about it. And then you can ask me some questions during the Q&A. But some of the key components about this, and when I got here in 17, I said, we got to fix this. We got to make this better. This is emergent money. My goal was to get money out the door within 24 hours. And I have to say, this is the first time we were able to do that. We were ready to put money on the street within 24 hours after the governor activated our bridge loan, which is an amazing feat in itself. These are loans to business owners. They're personal loans to business owners up to $50,000. There's very limited documentation that's needed, but there is documentation that is needed. Zero interest loan. If you stop there for a second, just go back up to the middle page one there. Zero interest loan. Here's the key right there. 2 to 200 employees, 600 credit score, and it is a personal loan, so we don't require any collateral, which allows us to get through these loans pretty quickly. Up to a year of zero interest. I think that's a good loan program for zero interest to be able to keep your business open for a year, and it helps you get to other funding. Now, it is fully repayable. You have to repay it. It's not a grant. When we expect repayment upon other long-term resources. So this is to keep you open. This is to keep the doors open. This is to keep your employees from leaving, going somewhere else, moving to other parts of the state, or even out of the state. We want you to keep those employees going and keep them paid. I'll pause there right now. Let me give you some details. Rebecca, did you want me to keep going, or do we pause for questions? I'm not sure what your normal procedures are.
It's whatever you're most comfortable with. If people want to jump in with questions either in the chat or as you're speaking, it's whatever you prefer.
So let me just give you some statistics right now. We have approved 350 loans so far for $15.5 million, which I think is amazing. And the money gets automatically sent over right to the business owner's bank account after they sign the documents. And it's all DocuSign. It's all electronic. They do it online. They get the email for the closing documents. They sign it. We fund it same day. So we're gonna. I've been saying to our Secretary Eagle that we're going to need more money because we have already requests that we've already received requests greater than our $50 million allocation. So the nice thing about this is it's a flexible loan program. We got boots on the ground that are listening to these businesses, listening to what the need is. And the nice thing about it is we have the flexibility to change if we need to. Why don't we just slide through a little bit to the next page and see if there's anything else that that you may have questions on, or that you may, ineligible. Let me just tell you about that. Some of the ineligible businesses. So you can see here a list of ineligible businesses. We want to loan to small businesses. They're the ones that are key to communities. We can all make an argument that without them, we wouldn't have our thriving communities. We don't want to loan to sort of gig workers. We don't want to loan to people who are selling online. And this is kind of the ineligible list. It's not dramatic, but we've also got in here gambling activities and things that are considered illegal. And we get a lot of questions about charitable and nonprofits, and we can't loan to them because these are personal loans. And if you know the setup of nonprofits, those who run the nonprofits or charitable organizations and religious, they don't own the business. So they're not going to sign for a personal loan. The best alternative for them is to the EIDL loan, where there are certain types of nonprofits that are eligible. The paperwork, if you tab down a little bit, next question. The paperwork is real simple. It's all, you just upload it right into our system. Tax returns, driver's license. We validate you. We have an ID validation. You get through. You've got to prove that your tax documents typically will show whether you're a C Corp, S Corp, LLC, whatever it is. And it might depend on whether we need more tax documents. We need business and personal of all the owners, 51% ownership from that individual applying. We see a lot where it's two people and it's 50-50, so both would need to apply. Sometimes we'll see, again, 51-49, where there's a controlling partner, then it'll only be one person. Max loan is $50,000 per applicant. Years ago, they used to loan per business. We don't allow that anymore. We want to help more businesses. This allows us to help more businesses. You can keep going down. There might be some more questions there. These are all basic questions. These are all sort of informative questions. We do check credit, 600 or better credit score, which I think is pretty amazing. If you have a 600 credit score, we'll provide a loan. We're going to keep it simple. The 23 counties is important to know. SBA has what they call these contiguous counties, or counties that are not directly impacted, but are connected to counties that are impacted. We have our 23 county list. Anybody, we don't separate those counties from the direct or indirect counties that were affected. We've got 23 counties. It's on our website, from Brevard, Charlotte, Henry, Monroe, St. John, Volusia, all of which are eligible. You can see the list on our website. That is it. I'm going to pause there for some questions. This is really the heart of what I wanted to present to everyone, and to show you this amazing program that I think businesses in other states would love to have. Since I've been here, we've loaned out about $130 million. It's a lot of money that we've loaned out to small businesses. We've done it, I think, pretty effectively. And we've really helped a lot of these businesses and kept a lot of these businesses in business for them to be able to go out and get other types of funding. So I'm going to pause there, Rebecca, and just see if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, so we have one question so far from Crestville Accounting. What if the loan applicant only has one employee? So it sounds like only one full-time employee, but several 1099s.
1099 employees are eligible. You just have to show that.
So, excellent. So Crestville, let us know if that answers your question on there. How many employees does a company need to have? I believe you said 2 or more.
2 to 100.
2 to 100. Mike, what do you see as the biggest problem in people's applications so far?
Good question. IDs, people are not uploading. We say that people need to upload IDs of the owners, of all owners that are going to be considered part of the loan. Typically, we're just seeing one ID uploaded. We are communicating directly with them, sending back emails telling them, hey, we need your wife's ID. Please provide that to us. That's been a big thing. Business tax returns. We clearly say personal and business, and we say complete. I don't understand why people are just taking screenshots of their first page of their tax return. We need a complete tax return, including all the schedules. I don't think we ask for a lot, but those have been the two primary reasons that there's a delay. We're not going to make somebody ineligible, or we're not going to put them into a decline because of that. We're going to email them. We've said we're going to email them twice, notify them, and it clearly tells them in the email, please upload your business tax return, please upload an ID. So those have been the two biggest.
Awesome. That's great advice. A few more questions on the term loan repayment. What is the term of the loan?
Terms of the loan are 0 interest for 12 months. It does not. This has been a big misunderstanding, and I don't know why. Business owners are thinking, well, after 12 months, it then goes to a term loan. It does not go to a term loan, and that's why we say it must be paid back at the end of the 12-month. And in fact, we tell individuals, please pay it back. You have a responsibility. When you sign documents, it says that you will repay this loan upon receiving other funding from the disaster, which means insurance, FEMA, commercial loans, EIDL loans, SBA loans. We ask that you pay it back. Most people don't. Most people hold on to it. Most people wait the 12 months, and then they think, well, I can just term it out after the 12 months. That is not the case. After 12 months, it's considered in default, and it automatically jumps up to a 12% annual rate. And that's not what you want. That hurts. That is not what you want. So please encourage them. It is a 1-year loan that must be paid back. The other thing I look at too is I've run this program, and we've activated multiple times since I've been here. I want this program to continue in perpetuity, regardless of who's sitting in the governor's chair. And if we look at this program and see, well, this was 30% payback, this was 50, this was 70, why are we doing this? I don't want that to happen. I don't want businesses, let's say in the Panhandle, who, yes, they get hurt by Michael, but we see most of the hurricanes in South Florida, East Coast, West Coast, but I don't want a hurricane to hit or a disaster to hit up there and not have a tool for them. I just want to make sure that it's my responsibility to make sure that this program, I hope my responsibility to keep this program running for a very, very long time. And it's been in effect since 1992. I think it was after Hurricane Andrew that they put this in the governor's EM. I think it's in the Constitution, in his executive management or his emergency management tools that he can activate it. And it's done, I think, 26 or 27 times since then.
Awesome. A few more questions. One, we got a couple times, is that if the company just started this year and they have not filed taxes yet, what would they do? Are they eligible? What's the workaround there?
Good question. So we've received a few of those where they've indicated they've started, late 21, they haven't filed the taxes, or they just started in 2022. So we're asking them to provide us with some sort of quarterly payments or anything that they've got that is IRS related, anything that shows that we can look them up in Sunbiz. That's easy to do. We can look them up to see that they're incorporated or that they are registered with the state, that they are a business. But any tax documents, quarterly payment documents, receipts, anything like that they can upload, that's what we're asking for.
Excellent. What is the turnaround time from the application to receiving the loan?
Days.
Wow, that's impressive.
In fact, we just sent somebody a check that applied Friday.
So guys, don't wait.
No, don't wait.
It's there.
Don't wait.
No, excuse me. Mike, we at the chamber, and I'm sure our chamber partners, are hearing a lot about fraud. I met with FEMA yesterday or Monday, and they were talking about some fraud that they're seeing with FEMA applications. We've heard from our county and Seminole County EIDL fraud. Can you give them any advice for if they are going through this process, what to watch out for, any red flags so they aren't a victim of any fraud?
Well, that's a great question. I can answer that two ways. We have, I manage another program called the Homeowner Assistance Fund, which is a Treasury funded program. And I was very concerned about fraud, extremely concerned about fraud. So we put something in place on the front end of our application to prevent people from getting into our application. It's an ID verification system. And I'm sure none of you have even heard of this company, and that makes me sing. The fact that you've never heard of this company tells me we're doing something right. It validates in a lot of ways. It's not just show me an ID or a selfie and I can validate who you are. It's much more sophisticated than that. So we are preventing our fraud on our front end. And that brings me, the reason I bring this up is when you do go into our application, when businesses do go into our application, please ensure that you check, and it clearly says, make sure that your information that you're putting on here before you hit submit is correct. And it's about 6-7 questions: who you are, what you are, your address, your name, and all that. How do we prevent fraud? That's a great question. That's one of the ways that we prevent fraud, and some of the things that I can tell people most important for you as a business, or to convey it to your businesses. Please make sure whoever they're doing business with are a registered business in the state of Florida. That is the most important thing. If they are not a registered business in the state of Florida, do not do business with them. I would repeatedly tell them that. And that's why we check on our applications. We're not going to preclude somebody from receiving a loan if they're not registered, because there's some businesses that don't need to register. It's highly encouraged that they register with the Department of State. It's important that they do that, but it doesn't preclude them from receiving our money. But as a business, please don't do business with people who are not registered in the state of Florida. I know on our sites down in Southwest Florida, we have DBPR down there, which manages a lot of those businesses and registrations and certifications and licensing and all that. Please make sure that your business that you're dealing with, these businesses, contractors, debris removal, whatever it is, they are a licensed contractor, that they are registered to do this in the state of Florida. There's no recourse if they're not, and I would never deal with somebody who is not a licensed, registered business in the state of Florida. That's the best thing I can tell you.
Such good advice. What other questions do you guys have? Another thing I will ask while we're waiting for some more questions to come in, do you suggest that while they're going through the process with your department, that they are reaching out to the SBA or looking
Absolutely.
into other loans as well, depending on, okay, that doesn't
Absolutely.
impact availability for
Nope.
them?
Nope, absolutely. Good question. They absolutely should. SBA is the primary source of funding for these businesses. And it's, again, the EIDL loan, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. It's the only loan program with SBA that they are actually the funders of. They actually fund the loans. They underwrite and fund those loans. The pricing is extremely advantageous to businesses. I think they set the floor at 304, and I think the ceiling at 6.25, which is extremely reasonable in today's market. So I encourage you, it doesn't preclude you from receiving our money. If you go to SBA to get a loan, if let's say you get, I think it's up to $2 million. That's a pretty large business to get a $2 million loan, but let's say it's a $200,000 loan. It doesn't prevent you from getting our funding. And the reason that is, it takes a little bit of time for SBA to process your loans. They're going to get probably tens of thousands of applications, if not hundreds of thousands of applications. And SBA nationwide, it's not just Florida. I mean, they do have Florida people. We ran into this problem after Irma, that they were so delayed. You know, an EIDL loan should take a couple of months at most, 2, 3, 5, 6 months at most. It was 9, 12, 15 months before people got an EIDL loan after Irma. And that's because of all the other disasters that hit the country at the same time. You had Texas, you had wildfires, California, you had Puerto Rico, you had Florida. They just had no resources, that they didn't have enough resources is what it came down to. So it doesn't preclude you. I encourage you, as well as going into FEMA to see what assistance they have, and to go into other federal resources to find out what else is available.
Excellent. Markley wants to know what the average loan amount small businesses receive. I believe you mentioned the max, but can you give us a little more information on that?
The average loan amount is just under $40,000. I encourage businesses. A lot of people just like to take the max. To me, that's silliness. Take the amount of money that you need. Take the money that you need to get you by. You don't want to hurt yourself. And I think that hurts you because at some day, in 12 months, you got to pay this back. And who knows what happens in 6, 9, 12 months. So the average has been approximately $40,000. Good question.
Great. And for those of you that may not be aware about the disaster centers that Mike has mentioned, where FEMA and SBA are there, reach out to whichever is your local chamber on this call. For Seminole County, that location is at the Seminole State Sanford campus in their automotive building. So there are different locations depending on your county, and they can help walk you through the process while you're doing this loan process through Michael's department. One question that I got before the call was, what if a business owner has locations in multiple affected counties? So perhaps they're in Seminole and Volusia. Do they only get to apply for one loan because it's the same business?
Just one. If they have multiple businesses, it's just going to be one loan per applicant. So we've had that before where a business owner may have multiple businesses, but we don't allow that. It's one loan per applicant, regardless of how many businesses that you own. And so long as the business that you're applying under is in one of the affected or one of the counties that is eligible, it's irrelevant. If they're both in there, then it's irrelevant. But I would encourage, I shouldn't say it's irrelevant. I would say if you have, whichever one you have the most access to the documentation, apply under that one.
And looks like Nancy from Daytona just dropped where that emergency location is for them. Any other questions? I know somebody asked about the documents. They were attached to the email you got this morning with the login information, but if you didn't get the attachments for some reason, Nathaniel on this call will be happy to get them to you. So you can just reply to that email and you can resend them. We'll also send the video out when we get it uploaded.
And I'll put my phone number in here too, just so you have it. Please reach out. My email is pretty simple. It's michael.dinapoli@deo.myflorida.com. I say it's simple. It's probably a lot more complicated than most. And my phone number is my desk line is 850-717-8966. I'm happy to talk to you. Please don't forward my number to business owners. I'm happy to talk to the members if you have general questions that you want to put out to your business, or if you're getting multiple businesses asking the same type of question. I'm happy to answer any of those questions for you to put out to your members. So, but please don't give my number out. That got really messy during my homeowner assistance. It actually I had to do all kinds of crazy things when I got my number listed.
Great. Chamber partners, is there any questions that you're getting a lot of that you'd like to ask Mike before we start wrapping up? Everybody's so quiet today. They're outside enjoying this weather.
I hope so.
Well, great. Well, if there's no other questions, we will let you go, Mike. Again, thank you so much for your time. This is fantastic. For those of you that joined us on the call today, if you have follow-up questions, please send them to whoever your chamber partner is, and we will work with Mike's team to get you the answers. We also have some SBA representatives that are working on a presentation as a follow-up to put it out to you guys as well. So we will continue through our chamber and our Volusia partners. I know we're doing the same to get you as much information as possible. And again, it's Support Your Local Chamber of Commerce Day. So support your chamber. And if you're not a chamber member with whatever city or county you're in, please reach out to your local chamber and get some information. Anything else you'd like to say, Mike?
No, I just want to say thank you to all the members. I think that's fantastic that you do this. I love getting this information out because as a small business owner, I wish I knew about all these resources that were available. And I wish I knew about all of you when I started my business here in Florida, but it would have caused me a lot less headache, I think, back in 2013, 12, 13, if I had known anything about you guys and what you do and how you support small businesses. So thank you for everything that you do. Again, I do mean it. If you need anything, please call, please text, please email. I'm happy to talk to you and get the information out. But thank you, Rebecca, for putting this together, and y'all have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Stay safe, everyone.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.